Coming up on Primetime News, Korean health officials lay out some cautious optimism, saying the deadly MERS outbreak appears to have leveled off with just one new patient reported today. And Korea's new prime minister apologized for the government's insufficient initial response to the MERS outbreak during an interpellation session at the National Assembly, his first attendance as the premier. And Elliott Associates clash with Samsung Group over the proposed merger of two units goes to court, which says it will rule by July 1st. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello and welcome to Primetime News on this Friday, June 19th. I'm Hwang Ji-hye.
And I'm Daniel Choy. Thank you for joining us. We begin with some news that may ease some public fear in Korea.
While we did have one additional confirmed MERS case overnight, hundreds were released from quarantine.
For more, we connect to our Kim Min-ji at the news center. Min-ji, please fill us in.
Good evening, guys. Like you said, only one new case was confirmed today, and that brings the number of MERS cases to 166. The new patient contracted the virus after caring for a family member at Samsung Medical Center. Now, it marks the lowest daily increase in the number of patients since the outbreak was first confirmed in the country on May 20th. One death was also confirmed overnight, raising the death toll to 24. The deceased was a 75-year-old patient who was undergoing treatment at a hospital. The fatality rate is currently at 14.5%. And as of Friday, the number of those quarantined stood at 5,930, with nearly 800 people released from quarantine overnight, which is down about 12% from the previous day. Also, 30 people previously diagnosed with MERS have been discharged from hospitals after fully recovering.
Well, that's some good news coming in. So the government is now assessing that there will be a decline in cases from this point on.
Yes, that's right. With the daily number of new cases dropping to the single digits this week and only one reported today, the government says it's an indication that the outbreak may be on the wane.
Our judgment is that the MERS outbreak will start to let up, but we will have to wait and see whether there will be additional spreading from hospitals currently under intensive monitoring.
Now, this weekend will be crucial in curbing the further spread of the virus. Health authorities will closely monitor 4 hospitals deemed as potential risk zones. It includes Samsung Medical Center, where the majority of new cases continue to come from, as well as Asan Chungmu Hospital, where some are expecting a rush of new cases after the nurse at a hospital tested positive and some 10 other medical staff began displaying symptoms. Also on the list is Geunhye Hospital at Gangdong, which has stopped taking new patients today after a MERS patient entered a dialysis facility, coming in contact with more than 100 people. Now, officials say if the super spreaders and virus are contained at these hospitals, it is likely that MERS cases will start to dwindle.
Okay, Min-ji, before we let you go, let's take a look outside of Korea. Thailand has apparently confirmed its first MERS case, right?
That's right. A 75-year-old businessman from Oman tested positive for MERS. The man had traveled to Bangkok for medical treatment for a heart condition. Now, health authorities said there are about 60 others being monitored for the virus, while 3 of the man's relatives who traveled with them have also been put in quarantine. And over in the UAE, local authorities confirmed that there were 2 additional MERS patients, one of which has died. The additional cases raised the country's MERS patient count to 76. Local health officials said the remaining patient is under observation and in isolation in accordance to international standards and recommendations by the World Health Organization. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much for that report, Min-ji. Now, coming back to Korea, it's been a month after the MERS outbreak started with a 68-year-old man who traveled to the Middle East.
That's right. And Kim Ji-hye reports on the lessons learned on preventing the spread of similar infectious diseases in the future.
It's unusual to witness so many pedestrians wearing face masks in this summer heat, and to see the normally bustling shopping districts of Seoul empty. During the past month or so, the MERS outbreak has had a considerable impact on the daily lives of the public, as well as raised its awareness of disease control and prevention. Some of the lessons learned include recognizing the importance of early detection and containing the spread of a virus. The doctor that treated the country's first MERS patient failed to promptly report to health authorities due to the lack of information on the virus itself. It took 9 days to finally confirm that the patient had contracted MERS after initially experiencing symptoms on May 11th. During that period, a number of people sharing the same facility were exposed to the MERS virus. However, due to the lack of a comprehensive epidemiological investigation, only 64 people were quarantined at the time, with many, including patient 14, going undetected. Patient 14 became a super spreader responsible for tertiary infection at the Samsung Medical Center in Seoul, acknowledged as a virus's epicenter. The unique Korean hospital culture where family members commingle in the hospital wards has also been cited as one of the main factors contributing to the spread of the virus. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
And President Park Geunhye, who's been checking up on the country's efforts to put a stop to the MERS outbreak, attended a gathering of tens of thousands of nurses from around the world in Seoul today. There she emphasized that Korea will do its best to eradicate the infectious disease in the near future. Choi Yu-sun reports.
Standing before the world's nursing community, President Park Geunhye said Korea will continue its strong response measures against MERS until the virus is completely wiped out from the country. She then tried to ease anxiety over the outbreak both at home and abroad.
강력한 대응 조치들이 작동됨에 따라 최근 환자 발생이 점차적으로 감소 추세를 보이고 있고 세계 최고의 보건 전문가들이 참여한 한 WHO 합동평가단에서도 한국 정부가 올바른 조치를 취하고 있다는 평가를 내리고 있습니다.
President Park also used the opportunity to thank Korea's nursing community for their sense of duty and selflessness in treating the MERS patients. The WHO chief, also at Friday's event, said Korea will be able to come out of the MERS crisis with more advanced understanding of the novel virus.
Given the political commitment of the President herself, the medical and the scientific talent in this country, I am sure the experiences here will contribute much new knowledge about the disease.
Pledging to bolster Korea's response to new infectious diseases, President Park called for a greater international cooperation on the threat of such illnesses in an era of globalization.
오는 9월 서울에서 열리는 글로벌 보건안보구상 고위급 회의에서도 감염병 대응을 비롯해서 보건의료 분야의 국가 간 협조 체계를 강화하고 각 국가들의 경험과 노력을 공유하는 협력의 장이 되도록 준비에 최선을 다할 것입니다.
Under the theme of Global Citizen, Global Nursing, the attendees at this year's conference will share their experiences and seek solutions to global healthcare issues and ways to enhance the quality of nursing around the world. Choi Yu-sun, Arirang News.
Korea's main opposition party has accused the government of showing favoritism to Samsung Medical Center, the hospital in southern Seoul where around half of Korea's confirmed MERS patients came into contact with that virus. For this story, we turn to our Park Ji-hye.
The New Politics Alliance for Democracy's Special Committee on MERS accused the Health Ministry of favoritism after granting Samsung Medical Center a special request on Thursday that allows the hospital to conduct temporary telemedicine treatment. The move allows patients to consult doctors and receive prescriptions via smartphone or telephone. The opposition party stressed that the allowance represents an extraordinary exception as telemedicine is prohibited under Korea's medical law. Korea Medical Association also expressed concerns over the government's show of special favor. In its press release, the Doctors Association said the safety and effectiveness of telemedicine has yet to be proven and that the government should protect the public's health within the boundaries of the law. The MPAD felt the government's granting of the request was unwarranted, especially since the hospital contributed greatly to the spread of the virus. A whopping 82 people of the confirmed 166 cases came into contact with the virus at the Samsung hospital, which accounts for nearly 50% of the total number of MERS patients in Korea. There's no question that this hospital is a prestigious one, as doctors at this center diagnosed the country's first MERS patient in mid-May. However, it has become the epicenter of the MERS outbreak, with the failure to isolate another MERS patient in late May after a misdiagnosis of pneumonia. The opposition MERS committee claimed that the government's initial failure to reveal the list of hospitals treating MERS patients was an attempt to protect the private hospital at the expense of the public's health. Currently, the health ministry is checking up on an estimated 42,000 people who have either visited or stayed at the Samsung Medical Center during late May and early June, the peak of the MERS outbreak. Park Geunhye, Arirang News.
Newly endorsed Prime Minister Hwang Ji-hye signaled his debut, kicking off a 4-day interpellation session at the National Assembly. Lawmakers grilled the government over the MERS outbreak and discussed ways to resume dialogue with North Korea. Our Kim Young-gil tells us more.
Korea's new Prime Minister Hwang Ji-hye was in the hot seat Friday, facing questions from lawmakers about the government's response to the MERS outbreak, as well as the current countermeasures against it.
The MERS crisis has tarnished South Korea's image as a hygienic and medically developed country. What are the government's plans to tackle this crisis?
The government lacked efforts to contain the virus in its initial stages. Now the government has a one-to-one management system responding to the MERS outbreak. We are mobilizing all-out efforts to wipe out the disease and easing concerns stemming from the international community.
Hwang also said he will mobilize medical teams from the military, as well as government staff, to assist doctors and nurses at MERS-stricken hospitals. Shifting gears to the government's policies towards North Korea, opposition lawmakers criticized the administration's lukewarm response to the North's recent statement that Pyongyang was open to holding talks with Seoul.
With such rare statements, we must increase contact with the North, including the option for summit talks. What do you think?
It is time for the South and the North to hold talks. The government is more than willing to hold substantive dialogue without conditions attached. We are willing to hold talks whenever it is necessary.
Lawmakers said the comprehensive dialogue should also include the possibility of lifting the so-called May 24th measures, a set of sanctions that prohibits all inter-Korean exchanges. Seoul leveled the sanctions in 2010 after the South Korean warship Cheonan was sunk by North Korea. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
Korea's Finance Minister Choi Kyung-han says the government will revitalize the economy with a sufficient level of stimulus measures. At a meeting with local think tanks today, Choi said the MERS outbreak is taking a toll on the domestic economy that's already struggling with sluggish exports. He added that the government will also swiftly push through structural reforms. Over on the second half economic policy, the minister said all necessary budget will be allocated to end the spread of the MERS virus. Now, Korea has initiated talks to ink a new free trade deal with 6 countries in Central America. If the deal is sealed, Korea's export items like mobile phones and automobiles are expected to benefit from it. Our Song Ji-sun has the details.
It may seem like a small market, but its value and growth potential means there is more to the region than meets the eye. Korea's Trade Ministry started free trade talks with 6 Central American nations in the U.S. city of Houston on Thursday local time. If sealed, Korea will be the first Asian country to have an FTA with the 6 Central American nations, giving Korean products an edge over rival exporters like Japan and China. With their geographical location, these countries, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama, act as a trade bridge linking North and South America. Like Korea, they've been busy securing FTAs, already sealing deals with the U.S., Mexico, and the European Union. The combined GDP of the 6 countries stands at just over $200 billion, a similar level to that of Peru, and their combined population is 44 million. Trade volume between Korea and the six nations stood at just over $5 billion last year, only accounting for 0.5% of Korea's total trade figure. But the two-way trade has been growing fast, doubling in the space of a decade. In addition to reviewing tariff benefits, Seoul has also offered to join regional development programs, such as electricity and solar energy projects. Seoul's outbound shipments of automobiles, auto parts, and electronics would all rise, while the Central American nation's food products like coffee and fruit would get greater access to the lucrative Korean market. 송지선, Arirang News.
In other news, lawyers representing Samsung C&T and the American hedge fund Elliott Management clashed over an injunction deal in court on Friday. Elliott says the proposed merger between Samsung C&T and JL Industries is unlawful and unfair and should be blocked. The court says a decision will be made by July 1st. Our Shin Se-min has the latest on this ongoing legal battle.
A district court in Seoul has heard the first injunction brought by U.S. hedge fund Elliott Management against Samsung Group's construction arm, Samsung C&T. Elliott, which has a 7.1% stake in Samsung C&T, is arguing that the company's proposed merger with another Samsung affiliate, JL Industries, is unfair to shareholders. It claims the numbers don't add up, and Samsung C&T's stockholders are getting offered well under the odds for their shares. Elliott also takes issue with the recent sale of Samsung C&T's treasury shares to the merger-friendly local manufacturer, KCC, an attempt by Samsung C&T to sway the merger vote their way at a shareholders' meeting set to take place in mid-July. Given the circumstances, those in legal circles believe Samsung has a stronger case, at least in the first hearing.
In the past, local courts have supported Korean firms in cases like this, but it could be a difficult story if Elliott Management pushes for a retrial or makes it an investor-state dispute. If either of those happen, they will be judged by a different standard.
He said Samsung C&T's board of directors could be seen as putting the generational power transfer taking place at the top of Samsung Group ahead of the interests of their own shareholders. Experts say one of the lessons Korean conglomerates should take away from Samsung's legal battle is that the corporate governance should most importantly reflect the interests of their shareholders, something that many family-driven businesses need to make way for. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Gangnam Style and kimchi are just two of the products that hogged global spotlight thanks to Hallyu, or the Korean Wave. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism launched a Hallyu planning body comprised of civilian experts, 6 government ministries, 3 major TV networks, and entertainment agencies such as YG Entertainment in efforts to further promote Hallyu to the world. The first planned event in the agenda is a K-pop concert in Poland next month, followed by other projects that include an exhibition of Korean products and a set of Korean Wave expos set to take place in Shanghai and Dubai, respectively, in the upcoming months. And for the top international headlines, we now connect to our Paul Yi at the News Center.
Our focus today, Greece's debt crisis inches closer to the breaking point. Toyota's top female executive is arrested on drug charges, and Jurassic World prepares to take another bite out of the box office.
Paul, let's begin. In Europe, EU leaders are scrambling to find an answer to the Greek debt crisis. How much time does Athens have left?
Well, the Greek government has now just less than 11 days to come up with 1.6 billion euros to repay the IMF, or else fails defaulting on its bailout debts. It's a worst-case scenario that may force the country to abandon the single currency and even exit the European Union. In a bid to avert disaster, EU finance ministers are meeting in Luxembourg on this Friday after Greece failed to reach a last-minute deal with its international creditors. Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis blamed the impasse on the Eurozone, saying it was dangerously close to a state of mind that would accept what he called an accident.
And I urge my colleagues not to fall prey to this state of mind. We can forge a good agreement. Our government is standing by with ideas and with the determination to cultivate the two forms of trust necessary to end this Greek drama.
Meanwhile, Greece's left-wing government is under extreme pressure both at home and abroad. Thousands of Greeks rallied in the capital city on Thursday, showing their support for staying in the EU while pleading with Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras to end the deadlock with Europe. And shifting to Japan, the world's biggest automaker Toyota Motor has been hit with a high-profile scandal after one of its top executives was arrested on suspected drug charges. Julie Hamp, a U.S. national and Toyota's communications chief, was taken into custody after Tokyo police discovered that she had imported the painkiller oxycodone through the mail under the pretense of receiving jewelry. Hamp is claiming ignorance, saying she wasn't aware the addictive substance was illegal in Japan. On Friday, the company's president, Akira Toyoda, offered an apology.
I am Akio Toyoda. I am deeply sorry that our executive has caused such trouble in our society at large. Julie Hamps is not only to me, but also to Toyota, an indispensable and dear colleague. The only thing we can do at this point is to believe in her, while also cooperating with the authorities.
Toyota Motor appointed Hamp as managing officer just 2 months ago. The 55-year-old is the company's first senior female executive. If formally indicted and convicted, she faces up to several years in prison. And finally, Jurassic World is set to take another huge bite out of the weekend's box office receipts, but animation giant Pixar is expected to give the dinosaur box office hit a run for its money. Pixar's original movie, Inside Out, starring the voices of Amy Poehler and Mindy Kaling, followed the story of an 11-year-old girl struggling to grow up. Forbes magazine praised the flick for being a family favorite and another masterpiece from the Oscar-winning studio. Up next, director Rick Famuyiwa's Dope is set to hit the big screen on this Friday. The coming-of-age story has been earning mixed reviews following its premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. It's expected to earn up to nearly $8 million this weekend. Meanwhile, the fourth installment in the Jurassic Park franchise is estimated to add over $91 million to its global take and, of course, a record-breaking total of nearly $600 million. And that wraps up our look at international stories for now. I'll see you back here on Monday.
Even sudden showers are welcomed these days as the Korean peninsula is suffering from serious droughts. But good news, nationwide rain is in the forecast for tomorrow with chances of thunder and lightning too. And here in the capital, rain is expected to fall between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But due to atmospheric instability, showers could fall at any time. So have an umbrella with you if you plan to be outdoors tomorrow. And Saturday's rain will bring down the temperatures quite a few notches as daily highs in the nation will only hover in the low to mid-20s, but temperatures will jump right back up on Sunday under partly sunny skies. Now, taking a closer look at the readings for tomorrow, Seoul and Daegu will only make it to 24 and 23, and Gwangju tops out at 25. And as for the other parts, it seems like Daejeon and Jeju Island will see a high of 22 and 24, while Dokdo rises to 20. Well, let's hope tomorrow's rainfall help ease the current drought. Well, that's all for Korea, and here's international weather for viewers around the world.
That's all from us for this week. Thank you so much for staying with us. This has been Daniel Choy.
And I'm Hwang Ji-hye. Have a great weekend, and please join us at the same time next week. Goodbye.